When working across cultures, it is important to distinguish between behavior that is absolutely necessary, what is optional, and what is not allowed for you as a cultural outsider. These are known as cultural imperatives, cultural electives, and cultural exclusives. For example, kissing on both cheeks is important in some European cultures, but would never be appropriate in Asian cultures. Touching someone on the hand in Thailand is taboo. If someone refused a handshake in the US, one might think it is very odd and unfriendly. In some cultures, such as Saudi Arabia, a man making eye contact with a woman in public can be cause for the religious authorities to be summoned. Cultural imperatives are customs and expectations you must comply with if you are to be successful with a particular culture. They also dictate, dictate what is taboo, the actions that should be avoided. In another culture, for example, in many Asian cultures, it is important to spend time with relationship building beyond what might be expected in the US or in the UK. Businesses are built upon personal relationships, so if you do not spend the time, you simply will not be successful. Cultural electives are those things that you may choose to adopt, but they aren't absolutely necessary. For example, eating with chopsticks in Japan or China is not necessarily requirements for being successful in those cultures. Trying new and unfamiliar foods may likewise fall into this category. Cultural exclusives are those things that are reserved for the people within that culture, and you should not adopt them. For example, avoiding criticizing another culture, religion, policies, and it is one thing for the people within the cultural group to be self-critical, but a very different thing for outsiders to do. So, adopting the mannerisms, clothing, or symbols of a particular cultural group may be seen as inappropriate for outsiders. Think about these from the perspective of the cultures you identify with. What are some imperative electives and exclusions you might tell someone from outside your cultural group to help him or her be successful in working with you? This could be at the national level or even within the culture of a company you work for. Each culture is unique and has different cultural norms and expectations. Learning all you can about the culture of the people you'll be working with is important to your success in creating strong relationships built on trust. Likewise, it is an opportunity for you to educate cultural outsiders about your cultural expectations and to learn more about them yourself. As Akio Morita, the successful Sony Corporation chairman, understand understood, culture may impact products, services, and operations by only 10%, but this is the most important 10%. These 10% determines success or failure. An American husband and wife moved to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The wife was given an abaya, a loose-fitting black robe with a head cover, and what was told she had to wear it whenever she was out in public or in order to demonstrate proper modesty. What is this an example of? A culture imperative. Because she was told she must wear the abaya. This is cultural imperative. Ken observed that when he tried to pass food from his chopsticks to someone else in Japan, excuse me, His Japanese host looked shocked. Later, he asked a cultural insider what happened. The insider explained that this was a taboo related to Japanese funeral customs. What cultural phenomenon did this demonstrate? Logical consistency. Even if not immediately apparent to an outsider, things that do not seem to make sense are logically consistent within cultures. What term do social scientists use to describe broad statements about the shared traits of a particular group? Generalizing. Generalizing is an association of traits with members of culture that allow you to talk about groups, but still recognize individual differences among those members. American financial companies in Japan tailor their marketing to Japanese women rather than men. What are the American companies demonstrating an understanding of? Deep culture. By understanding the roles of women and men in Japan, the American financial companies were able to target their marketing campaigns to the appropriate market. In this case, Japanese wives who overwhelmingly handle household finances in Japan.